Hi guys, this is Frenchie and today I am so excited because we're gonna create together the video of the landing page on Heart Support website, and we're gonna go from this to this. The organization is also offering all the footage for you to follow along, so click in the link in the description if you want to download them. Before we start, Heart Support is an organization created by the lead singer of August Burns Red, Jake Lewis. For those who know me, you know that I really appreciate this kind of music, especially this band. So I really feel like, you know, this scene in Wayne's World.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
And this organization is a safe online space for you to open up on what's going on in your life. The particularity of Heart Support is that they are using music to share about mental health and also connect to the community. The community will listen to what you have to say and will try to help the best they can. You can start a conversation under their YouTube video in the comment section or anonymously in their forum. They are not a replacement therapy, but they are people that truly care and that will listen to you without any judging. So normally at this part of the video, this is the moment where I ask you to click on the donate button on the fundraiser that we are organizing with Heart Support. But I got a little technical problem where YouTube doesn't consider that my channel is big enough to join a fundraiser. I'm gonna ask you guys, if you want to donate to Heart Support, to go to either Mr. Alex Tech video or Patrick Sterling videos. At that moment where I record the video, they are out. So you can donate what you want and what you can. Also, I just want to let you know that this week, every donation will be matched. If you are donating to Heart Support $5, it will be worth $10 for them. So now I want to explain why this cause is very important for me. So I'm not often opening up in this YouTube channel about my personal life and what happened in my life. But during the rare times, I talked about my band that I had. And if you want more details about my band and you haven't seen the video, I put you the link in the annotations. But we were touring a bit in France. It was very fulfilling for me because when I had this, I could express my creativity and at the same time release all the energies I was storing during rehearsals or on stage. One day, I took a corporate job in Paris in a very big company. That was the dream job that everybody wanted for me. I was feeling great. I was feeling that I was set in life and I was successful. But moving from my small village to the very big capital and having less and less rehearsals to none, not being in a good relationship, and also having less and less meaning into my work, the disillusion came very quickly. And one day, my body just snapped. I was in the metro and at one moment I felt a heavy pressure that grew until I couldn't breathe anymore. And I saw myself gradually not having any control over my body. My muscles were contracting more and more and I couldn't move anything anymore. And I don't know if you visualize, but I felt kind of like when Chris gets hypnotized in Get Out. So I felt that I was there, but I couldn't do anything. And my friend, this was the first time I experienced panic attacks and tetany. Because everybody was telling me how lucky I was when I was talking about my anxiety to them, I just stayed in a very denial state. I acted as everything was fine until I had multiple panic attacks during the day. I think my real mistake was to not seek help. What saved me was to change my location, change my environment, change my relationships, and change my perspective of life and my career. And supported by my partner, I changed my career to something way more creative where I could express my creative self. And I'm getting a bit emotional, but this is how I discovered color grading, and that color grading brought me a lot into my life and into the meaning of my work and also the balance that I have now in my life. So the moral of the story is that if at that time I had a safe space where actually I could express myself without any judging, without people that would tell me that I was so lucky and I should be grateful on what I had and just express myself for what I am feeling, then I wouldn't have denied what was happening and I would have sought professional help earlier to understand what was going on. Thank you for listening to me, guys. It really means a lot. And if you are feeling this way, or if you need to talk to someone, Heart Support is a safe online space where you can do it. Okay, so after my very long story, let's just go back to the video. As this video is a collaboration with my Davinci Resolve content creator colleagues, this video is the part 3 of the tutorials. If you want to watch all the tutorials, the part 1 is on Mr. Alex Tech channel where he's editing the video. The part 2 is on Patrick Sterling's channel where he's doing the lower third and the infographics. The part 3 is with me where we are going to color grade this video. The part 4 is with Jason Jadlowski where he's gonna do the sound and the music for the piece. And the part 5 is gonna be with Casey when you're gonna do the titles and the transitions. I put all the links of their channel in the description for you to go to other parts. So now, let's grade. So here we are, guys, in our timeline, and straight away I'm gonna show you what is my project settings for it, so you can follow along with the footages that you can download in the link in the description. We're just gonna go to our project settings here, and to make it very simple for you to follow, I like to put my color science to Davinci YRGB Color Manage, so then you don't have to bother to do a color management on a node-based level. So we are going to an input color space in Blackmagic Design 4K Film Gen 3 because the biggest camera that has been utilized here in the timeline is actually a Gen 3 Blackmagic camera, and this profile is the best for the footages to react to. The timeline color space, we are going to work in a Davinci Y-Gamut intermediate color space because we have Rec 709 footages inside our timeline, and Davinci Y-Gamut will permit us to have more room to handle our Rec 709 footages that are also not really in great quality, so it will be really handy for us. Timeline working luminance, you can leave it to HDR 1000, it's fine. Output color space, we switched to Rec 709 Gamma 2.2 for this case because this video is for the landing page of the website for Heart Support, and so because we are delivering on the internet, Gamma 2.2 is the best color profile to be viewed on screens like computer screens, smartphone screens, and so that's why we are in Gamma 2.2. Okay, now that we have everything, let's just come back to our project, and you can see that I already created looks over here. So I wanted to point it out to you because also I wanted to explain what is the workflow of a colorist in a post-production pipeline. When I receive the footage and when I receive the edits, what I do first thing is to build a look to present to the director, to after have an approval from the director. And so this look is the look that I already prepared. So if you see, that the director approved, and that actually we're going to recreate together. Also, before we are starting to grade, because we are in a Davinci YRGB Color Manage and everything in our timeline is in DNH HR HQX, which then makes Davinci not recognize what is the camera metadata inside, we will have to point out to Davinci what are the different footages. So if you see, in our edit, I'm just going to show you, we have Rec 709 footages like this. So normally when I go to input color space, what is nice is that Davinci already interpreted for me the footage in Rec 709. So I go to Rec 709 and it's in Rec 709 scene. If, for example, your image, when you put Davinci YRGB Color Manage, comes out like this, so you go to input color space and instead of having Rec 709, you have interpreted to a Blackmagic Design 4K Film Gen 3, like this, that is weird. Then you will have to go back, right click, go to input color space and go to Rec 709 scene. All the footages that you see that are very colorful are in Rec 709. There is other footages in this timeline that are a bit more grayish. And this is completely normal because these footages, all the footages with the girl, are in log. And so this log needs to be interpreted so we have a base to work with in Davinci Resolve. We want Davinci actually to interpret our footage to the Blackmagic Design 4K Film Gen 3. because when I interpret it, I have the colors that the camera saw on set. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna select all the footages that I have of the girl over here, over here, over here, and over here, and I'm gonna right click, go to input color space, and set it to project Blackmagic Design 4K film Gen 3. So when I have this, now I have colored footages that are interpreted in Rec. 709 Gamma 2.2. So now that we are set, we are going to do the look together. Instead of me going from node to explain to you what I've done, we are just going to recreate it together. So first, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have a bit more real estate to show you what we are doing. And I'm going to create a parallel node like this. So in balance, I'm just going to do my exposure and my leaf gamma gain. So for exposure, I can use the offset. And so I feel that my image right now is a bit too overexposed. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the offset and I'm going to go down with my offset to something like 21. And also because I feel that maybe I'm floating a bit too much next to the bottom, what I can do is that I can raise my lift, but what I'm going to do is not raise my entire lift, but just raise the luminance of my lift to have something a tiny bit more natural and not have actually the colors following it. So I'm just going to raise it to 0.01, and I think I'm okay actually with the exposure of it. And what I want to add, because it's a footage that is outside in a festival and it's hot and it should be warm and welcoming, what we can do is that we can go to HDR in the global wheel, and in the axis go to minus 0.01. And so this minus 0.01, if you see, is adding some warmth that is actually pretty pleasant. It's not as heavy than the warmth from temperature. After this, what I want to do is making the image pop a bit more. So I create a node after my balance, and for this we're gonna stay actually in the HDR wheels, and we're gonna go to contrast. So why I'm choosing contrast in the HDR wheels and not contrast in the primary wheels, it's because contrast in the HDR wheels is a bit more photometrically, in the sense of like when I raise contrast, I'm raising the separation between the whites and the blacks. But if I raise contrast in the primaries wheels, I'm going to add at the same time some saturation to compensate my raise of contrast. So if you see, for example, right, I raise the contrast in the primaries and it adds for me colors, okay? But if I raise my contrast over HDR, it only separates the whites and the blacks, and it doesn't add any colors to compensate. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to slightly raise the contrast to 1.024, and we're going to stay around this area, which is nice because it makes our image pops a tiny bit more. I'm just going to create a node before my balance. So on HDR, I'm going to stay on the HDR wheels, and I'm going to go to these 3 dots, and I'm going to change my gamma to linear. So to be really fast, when you change to a linear color space, it's just to tell Davinci that you want a color space that will simulate the heaviness of the lights. So I like to use it on my HDR wheels, just like because I feel that the result is a bit more natural than if, for example, I use the Davinci White Gamut on my HDR wheels. So I can go to my light, and you see my light is taking everything in my image instead of the shadows. And what I want to do is actually having less highlights on their face. So what I can do is go down with my light at minus 0.04, and I think it's a sweet spot. So it avoids, for example, their forehead to shine too much, and also it makes my sky a tiny bit more believable, and also it makes our tent behind a tiny bit more prominent, and we can see the details a bit more. Okay, so when we have this, we have basically our primaries that has been set. okay? So what I'm going to do is now do my secondaries. And so to do my secondaries, I'm going to start with the split toning. So we're going to do the split tone, and I wanted for this piece something that is kind of like a film print, but not a film print per se, because I felt that the film print emulation were a bit too strong for the video, and I still wanted to handle and manage my film emulation. So what I can do is actually recreating a sort of a film print, and with this I'm going to recreate a film print with the split toning. And so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use my curves for that. So I can enlarge my curves, so I put it very large so then I can be more precise, and I'm going to unlink all the YRGB, and I'm just going to select the red channel for the moment. So you're going to create a point in the second square of the graph. So here I can create a point in the middle, and so if I want to move my point, I can hold Alt or Option, so then it stays on my linear curve, okay? But I'm just going to put it somewhere here. For this, I'm just going to remove actually some red from the shadows. So if you see, when I pull down, I'm removing reds in the shadows. If I pull up, I'm going to add red in the shadows. So I'm just removing a tiny bit red in the shadows, like this. And because I remove red, what is prominent would be actually the green over the shadows. And so to compensate that, I'm going to take my green, and I'm going to create a point, and I'm going to go down with my green actually. So it compensates, you know, the green, and it becomes a tiny bit more neutral. And I'm going to go with my blue, create a point also, and I'm going to go up with my blue, so then we are way more neutral than we were. And so if you see, this was before our split tone, and this was after. So our shadows are a tiny bit bluer, which I like. Maybe I'm just going to decrease the intensity of the blues, but I kind of like the style of it. So I'm just going to decrease that over here and raise a tiny bit the green, so then we have nice shadows like this. And to spice up the things a bit, I'm just gonna go back to my red, and I'm gonna go up with my red because I want, you know, like this sun hitting their face. So I'm just gonna add more reds into the highlights for it to be warmer, and I'm gonna remove some blues from the highlights. So if you see, when I remove a lot of blues, it tends to go towards green and yellow, so it gives a real mood to the picture. And so I think something like this would satisfy me. So this is before our split tone, and this is after our split tone, and I'm quite happy with the result. So after our split tone, what I want to do is just like some readjustment of the hues. So I'm just going to call that hues. And for this, we're just going to go to our color wrapper, and I'm going to change the hue resolution to 16. So then I have more choices, and I can just enlarge it to see where I am. And what I want to do here is that I like blue skies, but I prefer cyan skies, just like because it has a real connotation in terms of cinematography, but also in this look, because we want it to be warm and hot, and it's cool, and we are in a festival. So I'm just gonna take the blues and go towards cyan. And so if you see, it changed my blue sky to something a bit more cyan, and I can take my cyan to go towards a tiny bit more green. And I think that is enough. So this is before our color wrapper, and this is after our color wrapper, which is nice. I like it. So now that we've set all our look and everything, what I can do is that before I do vignettes, I like to do this. So I'm gonna create a node after my parallel node, and I'm gonna go to composite mode when I right click, and I'm gonna go to overlay. So for those who don't know me, I really use a lot overlay because it gives me density and it gives me contrast straight away. For this, I'm just gonna go to my note key, and I'm gonna take my key output and go down towards something around like 134 is okay. 134 is good. So this is before, this is after. So it puts everything a bit more dense, and I like it because it rubs it in a very natural way. So we're just gonna create our vignette to finish our look. So we're gonna go to our power windows and go to our windows and create the vignette here around them. So I'm just gonna relink everything, take a point and push them up so then they can stand out. Okay, and I'm going to create a node, add outside, because it will affect everything outside of my vignette. And I'm just going to create a point and go down with this point. So then I also create something that is a bit more 3D. So this is how you grade a Rec 709 footage. Now let's just put this grade on our Blackmagic footages and just readjust together. So let's just put it on this footage, and I'm just going to copy and paste by middle clicking it, and we are just going to put this towards her. And so what I see compared to what I have here is that I will surely need to make a balance. So I think it's going to come from the split toning. I will have to just readjust my split tone to have a bit more warmth coming in. And then let's see what we can do after. So let's go to our split tone, and we're just going to take our red and we're going to come back a tiny bit to have a bit more warmth. Okay. And I'm just going to go up a tiny bit with my blues. And let's see with my red up and with my blues. Let's see what it does. I think that's fine. So right now it's a bit better. Okay. Now what I can do also is that I can just raise a tiny bit my offset for this. So I go to my offset and I raise my offset, if you see. Okay. And after my hues, I think my hues are okay. After my hues, I can make a bit of density because everything is nice in terms of contrast and everything, but I think that she doesn't really pop. So what I can do is that I can go to density and I can raise the overall saturation. Why I prefer to go to density, to the color slice, it's because when I raise the saturation is subtractive instead of additive, which then for me makes a better image, just like because you are not adding light to the overall image, which makes it a bit more real and a bit more filmic than if I was using the normal saturation. Okay, so this is what I've done for density and I'm quite happy with that. And for the balance, actually I just want to add a bit more warmth overall, so I'm just going to stay with the primary color wheels and I'm just going to go towards something like 60, and because it's a tiny bit green for me, I'm just going to go towards 6. And I think I am fine with that. So this is the Rec 709 and this is our final look. What I'm going to do now is that I'm going to apply everything to all the shots and tell you if I need some help with you guys for matching. So I wanted also to show you the interior room of our character, because our character at the beginning of the film is not feeling well. Of course, you know, like we have our outside that is shiny and glowy and it's warm, and here we start to have yes, our outside that is, you know, early morning, which then we keep some warmth, but it becomes a tiny bit more colder. We go to something that is colder for the room. And so why I took the decision to do this is just because I want to represent what the character is feeling right now. So these scenes are just representing someone that is struggling and that is suffering. And so to do this, I want to have a high contrast in terms of mood between the warmth of the festival and states of this lady alone in her room. And so here you can see that there is a strong contrast between this and this, for example, or between this and this, for example, or between this and this. I really like the fact that then these images are very impactful and that will stay in your mind. Okay, so I was thinking, let's just review the last scene together, because I think this is the most important one, and also it has a tiny bit more features than the other grade. So I've done like the other grades that I showed you, but this one I added a face refinement, and I'm going to show you what it does. So this is before and this is after. And so why I use this face refinement, if you could see, is that because this is the end shot of the whole video and we want to have a bit more hope from the main character of this video, you could see that actually they I don't know if it was on purpose or if it was not, but she has lights in her eyes, so you could see even without my little tweaks, but she has light in her eyes, and I wanted this light to be a bit more prominent and that our attention is drawn to her eyes. Then from the color grading, it's a strong message to say that, okay, our character is getting better and now she's seeing hope, and then she can move on into her life because, you know, she found music and she found heart support. Okay, so this is a tiny detail, but it's always pretty important. And so I'm going to show you what I've done really quickly. So what I've done is that I haven't put any beauty anything, you know. I really like actually her skin, she's beautiful. What I've done actually is only go to eyes, and I put more sharpenings, if you see, so her eyes are sharper. More brightening, so then she can have a bit more light going on. I also raise a tiny bit the eye bag removal, so then we have less eye bags happening here. So that's all for me, guys. I hope this tutorial helped you and you understand a bit more what is the workflow of a colorist and how to tackle a video for your jobs, for example. I think also because you have the footages to download and you can follow along, you can also come up with your own style, which would be actually pretty interesting. So if you want to get inspired by what I've done and just like do your own stuff, it's cool. But also if you want to create your own thing, it's also cool. I find it pretty nice. I'm actually curious to what you can come up with. Also, if you need a safe online space where you want to talk without any judgment, heart support is here. Also, if you want to watch the part 4 of the tutorials, it's gonna be done by my friend Jason Jadowski. So I put his channel in the description, and you're gonna do music and sound with him, so it's pretty exciting. Yes, I hope you liked the video and I see you next time, guys. See you.